Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the Flamin' Hot Grilled Cheese Burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
How's your day going?
Going good, thank you, yes.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
Really, guys?
What? Jackson's always had this game right.
Let's go!
It's the all-wheel drive event at Lithia Ford of Boise. From hunting trips to ski trips to trips to Grandma's house. Nobody does AWD like LFB, Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Find your sun with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Cold, refreshing, and made for moments like these all year long. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust rowpaint.com to get that job done right.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live is the only daily show that talks nothing but Boise State sports. And we do it with you. Give us your comments or questions in the ICCU YouTube chat. Or leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox at speakpipe.com/BNN. BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise, and our major sponsors, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, RoadPaint.com, and the Blue and Orange Store. At Lithia Ford of Boise, we're proud to stand with Boise State Athletics. Through our NIL marketing partnerships, we're investing in the future of student athletes. Lithia Ford of Boise, here to get you there, wherever that may be. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Broadcasting from the Sun Cruiser Studios, here's BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Bronco Nation? Welcome on into a live edition of Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com, on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page, on our X account. We appreciate all of you for spending part of your day with us here at Bronco Nation News. My name is BJ Rains. And, of course, Tuesdays, that means Bronco Studios host Jay Tust joining us as well for his Tuesday appearance. And Jay, I know Santa Claus apparently came a couple weeks ago. I'm stealing this from somebody on Facebook, but Santa Claus came this morning, I think, because my kids are back in school.
Oh, come on.
Had a great holiday break with them, but I think 18 days or whatever it was. Happy to see them get out the door this morning for school. A little quieter around the house.
You're hilarious, man. I don't know. I'd rather be there than here, but that's okay. I get what you're saying. It's a little chaotic at home at times. I hear you.
You work from home a little bit, but not daily. So it's a little different during winter break when you're trying to host a show and you have kids fighting over Legos and video games and things.
Yeah, I get it. And the funny thing is, I always thought, like, when I grow up, I'm just like, I'm going to tell my kids to listen to me, right? Yeah, that doesn't work. Need to come up with a better plan for that. That's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Jay, hope you had a good break. I hope everybody had a good break. I'm trying to remember when we talked last. Jay, did we talk last week? I think we did. I forget. We had New Year's, and I don't know when was going on, but either way, we're back, and we got football to talk about, basketball to talk about, and again, we're presented by our new title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise. So appreciate Jim Sturk, Jamie Drake, the whole crew at Lithia Ford of Boise. Make sure you get out and check them out. Right now, they got some great deals. They're trying to get rid of the 2025s to make room for the 26s. So LithiaFordBoise.com, you can view their full inventory of vehicles, and we appreciate them for their support of BNN. Jay, I wasn't sure. Now that you're on staff there and on the official payroll of Boise State, I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to discuss Logan Brantley or not. And then I got the official word 44 minutes ago on the Boise State Twitter feed that has been signed and sealed and delivered. And we are, now that he's a signee and not just a commit, you were able to talk about him. So I was going to have to dance around that and do it myself. But Logan Brantley, I don't know if I should feel good about this, Jay, or not good that he left Kansas to come out here. But former Kansas Jayhawk didn't put up any kind of monster stats or anything. Was kind of a special teams guy, a backup linebacker, but has multiple years of eligibility. And if you're I know people may laugh at this, or whatever, but if you're a backup player at a Kansas type in the Big 12, wouldn't have said this years ago, but maybe you are in a position for some serious playing time at a Group of 5 school like Boise State. I don't know. We'll see, but they obviously have some needs, Jay. Who knows if this will be the only linebacker they get? Who knows if they see him as a starter, as just a backup guy? Who knows? But Logan Brantley is the first portal addition that has been announced by Boise State, a linebacker from Kansas added to the mix here for the Broncos.
Yeah, coming out of high school, had a ton of interest. Basically, every Mountain West school offered him. Minnesota, Arizona, Colorado, Washington State, Kansas. Obviously, is where he eventually committed to. I think you look at his dimensions: 6'5", 225, can run a little bit. This is going into portal season. I know Spencer said a number of times didn't necessarily want to say what he was going to address, but I think that we can all kind of figure out the positions of need, especially when it comes to maybe adding a little bit of experience out of the portal, and linebacker was one of them. So they go out and they address one of those needs, and I assume they're far from finished, but that's a nice little get to complement the linebacker room right now.
Yeah, no doubt. With Marco Notriani leaving, linebacker was a spot. You got Bowen Phelps back, Jake Ripp, but you certainly could use at least one, if not multiple guys thrown into the mix there. I know they like some of the young guys, whether it's Sincere Brackett or some other guys that they have, in the mix there. But you throw Logan Brantley in there, and we'll see if that's it at linebacker or if they try to add somebody else. But now you look at offensive line, you look at wide receiver, you look at safety, defensive backs. You could really go across the board, and we're going to get to the quarterback position in a minute to explain some of my thoughts that had some folks on Twitter all riled up. But running back, you feel pretty good about, Jay?
You were riling people up on Twitter?
Hey, you know what? I'll take the Twitter engagement, man. Bring it on, I guess. But, I don't think they need a running back. I don't think they need a tight end. I think there's a couple positions where you feel pretty good about. But across the board, at most positions, you'd like to think that they're looking out there for an upgrade, and we'll see kind of what is next. One outgoing player. I think the first one that has committed somewhere, Hall Schmidt, lands at UCLA, and nothing against Hall Schmidt. Good for him. That's a great landing spot for him, but I was not expecting him to transfer up, so to speak, to UCLA. And so I was thinking he was more either FCS or a smaller level, FBS in terms of wanting to play. Did start, I think, 12 games or whatever it was 2 years ago, was hurt pretty much all of this year. But he was available for a couple of games and got beat out at right tackle by Daylon Matoyer, as was my understanding at one point this season. Jay, he was available and just wasn't picked to play. We'll see how he does at UCLA. Good luck. Good for him. Good luck there. But that I was a little surprised to see that.
Yeah, I also think that maybe it's a lesson learned. Like, he did start almost every game on a team that went to the Fiesta Bowl, the college football playoff last year, right? So in this day and age of the transfer portal, if you got a guy with a little bit of experience under his belt, there is clearly a little bit of built-in value there. And while you're right, man, like even if he comes back next year, I mean, Daylon Matoyer beat him out this year, which leads me to believe that that's Matoyer's job next year, right? So it might have been tough for him to come back and play. I don't know.
Yeah, well, good for him, and hope it works out for him there. I saw they added another lineman too. UCLA did for James Madison. So we'll see kind of where he fits in there. But good for him. We'll find out where the rest of the guys go. Not sure what you can say or what or just give me a head nod if you can't say anything, Jay. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble or anything. But Cam Jones was an interesting one because he was a guy that On3 reported was entering the portal back in December, and we have continue to check Boise State's online roster. They remove players once they enter the portal and leave the team. They have turned the roster over to 2026, added some of the incoming players, and Cam Jones continues to show up on the online roster. And we checked in with David and those guys over there in your department, Jay, or that you work with at Boise State in the sports information department, and they said he's not in the portal yet. He's still on our roster, so we still have him here. And so not saying he won't enter the portal. We mentioned this yesterday with Brad Bedell. I mean, things can change. That maybe he's still planning to. Who knows? We can't just call him up and talk to him. But kind of interesting that all the other guys that said they were going in, have gone in, have been removed from the portal. And I guess in fairness, Cam Jones never said he was going in. On3 reported that his rep told him he was going in. So I don't know if that's still coming, if that was a ploy to get a little more money from Boise State. I don't know if the new wide receivers coach came in, which you guys still haven't, officially announced yet and changed his mind. I don't know, but I will just say, little interesting, Cam Jones still listed on the roster.
I mean, that's fair enough. He is still listed on the Boise State football roster. So until that changes, nothing changes, I suppose. Yeah, a guy that they were pretty high on coming in, and we'll just kind of see what happens there in the future. But shout out to the boys, by the way, for updating the roster, already turning that thing over to the 2026 version, because might be the earliest it's ever been done here at Boise State. So shout out to the fellas for getting that done and updated, because it is important right now. It is such a fluid roster at this point in time, and you want to have a good grasp, a good understanding of who's leaving and what's coming back and all that stuff. So it's important, it's valuable, and I'm proud of the guys for getting that done.
Yeah, no doubt. Speaking of proud of the guys for getting it done, I thought you were going to give Chris and Nathan a shout out, but that's all right. Chris in particular.
Well, them too, sure, buddy.
Huh?
Them too, sure, buddy.
Yeah. No. David and Alex and Chris and the whole crew, deserve a ton of credit. And that's kind of our unofficial, Jay, official news. Like when you see the coach removed from the online roster, or you see the staff member removed, you see the player removed, they're officially gone, which is why I thought the Cam Jones thing was interesting. But Chris Van Sickle is tracking all this stuff over at 24/7 Sports, our Boise State site, BroncoNationNews.com. We have an updated blog on there where anytime there's an offer put out, or Chris hears about a visit coming, or any kind of intel he's hearing on guys that might be looking to come to Boise State, he is throwing that in our portal tracker. So you can go on there and check that out at BroncoNationNews.com. That is a free article for everybody to go check right now. But anytime there's a visit, and Chris is dialed into who's coming for visits, and he's talking to these agents and reps and high school coaches and the players themselves. So if you're having a hard time figuring out where to look and everything, just if you want one spot, who's coming to Boise State, who's visiting, who's maybe considering, who has an offer, and we got it broken down by position. right there on a blog at BroncoNationNews.com, and you can check that out right now if you want to kind of get up to the minute info. And he's updating that throughout the day as we find out who's visiting and who's doing what. And I know there are some visitors coming, Jay, in the near future here, and they're working pretty hard to try to make this thing happen. But I do just kind of chuckle when you see like a Sorsby, the quarterback, go to Texas Tech for a reported $5 million. And I know it's a little higher than that, but that's at least in the semi ballpark of like Boise State's, budget for the entire roster. And so it's just crazy when you think about what even like Trey White, the San Diego State edge, the beat writer for the football team, Kirk Kenny, the San Diego Union Times, was sitting next to me at the basketball game on Saturday. And he actually told me, I'm hearing he's going 1.5 to Texas Tech. And then sure enough, it gets announced like the next day he's going to Texas Tech and it's going to be well over $1 million for one edge player that, from a Mountain West school. So we talk about Ty Benefield. I saw that he visited LSU. I know I mentioned that yesterday with Brad. We'll see if he ends up going to Michigan with Stockton. Who knows what's going to happen there. But the point is, Jay, like we all, media wants to see it. Fans want to see it. You want to see like improvements at a lot of these positions and, they got to go get these guys. And no disrespect to Logan Brantley, but I mean, you're getting a linebacker that has very limited defensive snaps and very limited defensive stats. That's, kind of the pool you're fishing in with money-wise at times. And you're not going to go get established starters at some of these schools like fans want, because you're seeing what Texas Techs of the world and just have unlimited budgets can go do. Schools like Boise State can't do that. They can't spend, 25% of their budget on one player. It just doesn't happen. And so that's why, unfortunately, you're seeing a Ty Benefield leave or whatever, and you hope that nobody else follows. But I'll be curious when it's all said and done on these additions, who they're able to add and what they're able to do here budget-wise, because they're just not swimming in the same pool as some of these bigger schools.
Yeah. It's funny, man, because, we've seen a few different publications. I think the New York Times even recently came out with like kind of like a reported salaries of, a range of what these guys are getting. And my question is that just the front door money, or does that also include the back door money? Because even when you see some of those reported salaries, that just might be what is intended for, rev share and things like that. But, teams are still finding a way to even do more after that, because nobody's being penalized for doing more right now. And until that actually happens, it's just nothing's going to change, in my opinion. I also don't love the fact that you hear guys enter the portal or they intend to enter the portal, and then you immediately hear a school associated with them. I mean, how does that not suggest there is some type of tampering going on, right? And then they end up
show up, and then
they end up at that school. Like I don't get how the NCAA isn't alerted by that right now. And
how about the report this morning that Kevin Smith, he was the Ole Miss running backs coach. He's going to be going to LSU with Lane Kiffin, but he stayed, I guess, for the extra game at one point. And I can't figure out now who's staying, who's going. But one of the main reasons he went back apparently was because Lane Kiffin was like, keep tabs on Lacey, the running back, and see what you can do there. And Ole Miss able to get him to stay on a new deal. But you've got, coaches that are leaving for LSU, and that is a really tough spot. I get that. Like, you're in a college football playoff run. You want to keep the boys together as much as you can. But all those coaches that are leaving are kind of like, hey, man, you like this offense? Yeah, you like that touchdown you just scored? Well, next year at LSU, you can do it even more. Like, that whole thing is crazy, too, that you're recruiting players off rosters while you're coaching for one team, knowing in 2 weeks you're going to be coaching for another team. Like, this whole thing is just getting out of hand, Jay.
It is. They got to do. I mean, it almost feels like we've talked about it at an exhausting level. They got to do something about the calendar. They've got to do something about that, but they also got to hold people accountable for tampering. And, even when I had Jeremiah on Bronco Studios over Christmas break,
full hour. Go watch that, folks.
Yeah. No specific instance was he referencing, but more just the general, like, it's cheating, it's tampering. Like, teams are doing this, and they're not being penalized for it. And I think that's just a little frustrating when it comes to that. I know we kind of ventured down a different path of what you intended. I just wanted to add that comment, but I do think that it is important to continue to stress when it comes to upgrading any given position, there is a significant price tag with it. And I'll continue to say this. It is no longer like recruiting 10 years ago where you went out and you found a guy that you believed in. You recruited him so he believed in you. He showed you how great this place is and that you could develop here and that you could go to the NFL here and win conference championships and all that stuff. Because while that still matters a little bit, there's another thing that matters even more. And in many cases, it matters even more. And that's the bottom dollar of what you can offer a player. And it is significant. And that's why, so I just kind of giggle sometimes when I see, the discussion go down on social media about upgrading any given position at Boise State, because if you're going to do that, you're going to invest a lot of money in a player that, has never worn the blue and orange before. Even if you feel like you're really confident about it, it is a risk versus guys that you recruited, you've built, you've watched develop, you understand their work ethic, all of those things. Like, it's just the answer is not just go out and get this guy and plug him in and play. It's no longer that. And
it goes both ways too, Jay. I mean, the Michigan, Mikey Keene, Fresno State put up those huge numbers, goes to Michigan, and I don't think played a snap or didn't play. And Prince Strawn here locally, I know he got hurt a little bit, but
one catch, one
target. And I did like how I just kind of chuckled when I saw the graphic.
Receiving yards.
They happened to get that one catch. He had one catch, and they had him running the ball.
I also think it's funny. It says 603 career receiving yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at 500. 578 of them come at.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it goes both ways. And it's not always greener on the other side and what you're promised in terms of the money and all that. And I know he got injured a little bit, which put him back on the depth chart. He had an ankle injury, and but you can't tell me that, and I guess for the $500,000 or whatever that he got, it was worth it to him, but can't tell me that he couldn't have put up massive numbers the next year at Boise State and then parlayed that into either an NFL career or a bigger deal somewhere else or whatever else. So just because it works both ways with the players, like you said, Ashton Genty, he got his $300,000. Could he have got $1 million? Yes. But if he's thrown into a three-headed monster at Georgia and who knows how many carries he gets and what the situation is, like sometimes what was it? Currency over, what's the thing they were saying last year? Currency over money. I don't know what Spencer and then we're calling it last year.
I remember something like that. I do remember.
But it was like, it's sometimes the comfort and all that. But with that said, like, also, it only goes so far, Jay. Like Ty Benefield, yeah, he would have been a starting safety here, would have had a chance to put up big numbers. But if you can get 800,000 as opposed to 200,000, and you do feel like you're going to find a spot where you can be a starting player in a power conference and get more eyes on you, like, hope it works out for him. Good for him. It's some guys it will work for, some guys it won't. It's certainly a gamble that you are taking, and we'll see how it plays out. But it is a big risk on both sides. And Brad Bedell was telling us yesterday, like, some of these conversations too, Jay, it's like you can't even talk to the player. You have to talk to the agent first, and the money is discussed and all this before you even get to talk to the player when you're trying to recruit him. And that's just crazy nowadays too.
Literally any angle you take at this, you probably sum it up by saying it's crazy. It is. I mean, look at it this way. Like, even if you take some of these average values that have been thrown around out there, if you sign a quarterback for $5 million, an edge rusher for $2 million, and an offensive tackle for whatever that projected value was, I think it was like $1.5 million, right? So you're at $8.5 million. So you're telling me now you spend $8.5 million on 3 players, which means if you're going to stay under that $20 million, $20.5 million cap, you got like 80 or 90,000 for the rest of the 105 players on your roster combined. Like, you're going to be paying a guy $5 million, you're going to be paying a wide receiver 90,000. Like, how do you think that's going to go? Like,
well, as you said, that's not how it's going.
But that's my point. It's not, that's not how it's going. Now, I do think that there was some type of ruling yesterday that, again, is trying to limit some of those backdoor deals or whatever. But that was that $20.5 million was intended to be a cap, and I think it's only created even more chaos until they shut off and close that back door where they are still, complementing these arrangements with money. And it's no different from stuff that the NFL is done. Even more so than cutting off the back door, there also needs to be some type of threat to where if you do something like this, like again in the NFL, if you were to pay a guy X amount and then find a way to somehow pay him even more through a back channel or something like that, you would lose draft picks. You would be fined significantly. Like there's a reason that it's set up that way. But until that threat exists, teams are just going to do whatever they have to do in order to win, especially when they have multi-billionaire boosters that want to back it.
Bill Mulder says, good morning from Casper, Wyoming. Appreciate you, Bill, for checking in. Appreciate everyone that's watching Bronco Nation News live here at bronconationnews.com. And Jay, I did want to bring something up about Maddox Madsen, and you could tell me if I'm crazy, if you agree, disagree, or what.
You're crazy, but that has nothing to do with what you're about to ask me.
That's fine. I just my personal belief is that Maddox Madsen is the starter next year. He's the clear, obvious starter. I think Spencer Danielson is very loyal to him, and I think that no matter what happens, no matter what they even say, if it's a competition, whatever, my personal belief, my personal feelings, and again, it's an opinion, others can disagree, whatever, is that it's not really going to be much of a competition this offseason. If Maddox Madsen's on this roster and healthy, he's 100% your starting quarterback. So wanting them to go get a quarterback in the portal, wanting them, all this stuff, I just think is wasting your time. And we had a story yesterday on Cash Herrera. Chris did a great job talking to Cash, and he said that his goal is to come in and start as a freshman, that he believes he's the best thrower on this team. Anything you want a player to say, it's great that he said all that. And I saw somebody say, best thrower on the team. I hope Spencer, starts the best thrower on the team or something like that. And my whole point was, I don't want fans to get their hopes up. There are so many other areas on this team that you can invest your time and effort to, on special teams, on secondary, on receivers, on the passing game, whatever. There's so many other areas that deserve the debate and all this stuff. And if you want to argue whether or not it should be Maddox Madsen, that's fine. But my whole point was, if you actually believe that there's a chance, there could be a serious chance there could be another quarterback starting against Oregon, I personally don't think that's the case. And I think that folks that are emotionally investing and hoping that there is another quarterback, they're going to be extremely disappointed come the Oregon game. So my whole point was, hey, I don't believe it's happening. So if I were you, like right now, I would just get that emotional loss out of your system and move on to something else. Because if you spend 6, 7, 8 months trying to build this up, that they're going to start Cash Herrera or start somebody else, I personally believe that's not happening, and that's a waste of time. And it's only going to make fans more mad and more angry and more disappointed come August when they find out that it's Maddox Madsen. So if you want to believe that and think that, I'm not telling you how to think. It's not me being arrogant, whatever. No one's told me. I'm not reporting that Maddox Madsen is the starting quarterback against Oregon. I just listen to every time Spencer Danielson talks, including after the bowl game in the LA Bowl, Jay, where he was basically saying Maddox Madsen's our guy, and we believe in Maddox Madsen. He's our quarterback, and he's said that numerous times. And so am I arguing that it should be Maddox Madsen? No, I'm not saying it shouldn't be, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. I'm just saying that I believe, based on what I've heard Spencer Danielson say, my personal opinion is that this is not really going to be an offseason where it's an open competition at quarterback. I believe Maddox Madsen, if he's on the roster and if he's healthy, is 100% the starter, and all the other guys are battling for QB2. He may even come out and say, we're going to have a competition. The best guy is going to win. Of course he is. He's not going, but he may say that, but I don't believe that's truly going to be an open competition at quarterback. My opinion is it's going to be Maddox Madsen. And my whole point in responding to somebody, which I had no idea people were going to just take this as, I'm being arrogant to the fan base and all this kind of stuff. I feel bad for fans that are hoping it's somebody else, Jay, because I don't think it's going to be. And if you spend 8 months worrying and getting your hopes up, you're going to be disappointed, in my opinion. So that's my whole point, was focus your effort and your wishes on something else that might actually happen, and not get super disappointed by the end of by the end of August when it's not Maddox Madsen. Is that a crazy, not rational take, or where are you on this?
Oh, know how much it pains me, everybody that's watching or listening right now.
Hold on, let me make sure I can clip this part off here. I'm ready. We're recording.
It pains me to say this, but your take is too rational. Like it's because it's honestly the most rational take. And let me just try to explain it a different way here. In the history of college football, and I don't know the answer to this, I I'm pretty sure it's just very few, if any. How many times has a true freshman quarterback ever came in and beat out a fifth-year redshirt senior QB with over 800 pass attempts, 6,500 career passing yards, and 50 career passing touchdowns?
Well, all the fans tell you, hey, Kellen Moore beat out Bush Hamden.
Bush rarely, if ever, played prior to that quarterback competition.
Yes.
Kellen was still on campus for a full year before going out and winning.
He was not a true
starting
freshman,
job,
yes.
which means he was a practice squad player for a full year, just annoying the hell out of Boise State's starting defense, right? Like, there's a difference there. And the great news is that both Cash and Jackson are coming in mid-year. They're going to be here in a couple of weeks. They want to try to get up to speed and see what they can do to elevate the competition within that QB room. And that is freaking awesome. But if we're just being realistic here, the odds would suggest that is a very steep uphill battle for those kids, regardless of how gifted and talented they are. And they both have incredibly bright futures, and the coaches freaking love them. That being said, like it would be an uphill battle. It would be unexpected if those guys were able to get up to speed and do that. And I'm not saying they can't by any means. And I know you're not either, BJ.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if you're trying to set the expectations going into the season and you don't want to be disappointed, be surprised if the opposite happens, because that would suggest, oh, those guys have came in ready to cook. And so I just think that's the level of expectation. And again, for people that continue to pound the table, go out, get in the transfer portal, get a guy, you are completely underestimating what it costs to potentially go out and get a better option. You are completely underestimating it. And as you know,
I know you said we don't expect this to happen, Jay, but to prove your point, if Maddox Madsen were to go in the transfer portal, the amount of money that Maddox Madsen, like, people would laugh at this. Oh, really? Somebody's going to want Maddox Madsen? Blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah,
absolutely.
Right. No, the stats that Maddox Madsen has, if he entered the portal, I'm not saying he'd be going to LSU, but he would certainly have $500,000+ offers somewhere.
I don't know what the number would be, but it would. Fans probably wouldn't believe it. But here's the deal: almost anybody that goes into the transfer portal these days, fans won't believe the offer that they're getting.
I'm just saying, a guy with his stats.
We just talking about the conversation is different than it was 10 years ago. It is no longer just going out and recruiting somebody. It is more complicated than that, and it costs a whole hell of a lot more than it used to. And so I just think that has to be a part of the discussion. It's not just go to the portal. Like it's too simple to say that, and it's not reality anymore. I'm sorry, and it might be hard to hear, but it's not reality anymore. And I mean, even with the way you build if you look at finances and you're investing, you got your 401k, right? And you're trying to bank on your retirement. Do you go all in on a stock you know nothing about and say, I'm putting it all in on this? Or do you diversify your assets and things like that? And do you spread your money out so you have a little less risk, reward, all that stuff? Like, that's the way that I would look at this. I mean, look at schools. I don't know a lot about Oregon State's NIL situation, but it's been reported they put a lot of money into their QB last year, and it didn't work out for them. They went 2-11 or whatever, and or 2-10, I can't, whatever, and all their coaches got fired. And so
Oregon State, yeah.
Sorry, did I say Oregon? I messed that up. That's definitely not it. Sorry, thank you, BJ.
Well, they put a lot of money in their quarterback position too.
They did, but they still have enough left over to spread the wealth. Oregon State. Sorry, I want to make sure I get that correct.
You might have said Oregon State. I don't know. Sorry.
Anyways, so if you want to contend for conference championships, which you absolutely have to do to be in the discussion of a college football playoff, I just think that they're doing what they believe they have to do to be a part of that conversation.
And I'm not even disagreeing. Like, if folks want to argue that Maddox Madsen is not good enough to be a group that would, I'm not even trying to tell you that. Like, that's not even I I would push back on that, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying like if somebody honestly believes, oh, he's not good enough to take us there. Oh, we need to upgrade at quarterback. Like, I'm not even going to fight you on that or argue on that. You're entitled to that opinion. You feel like there should be somebody better playing at quarterback. That's your opinion. That's fine. I'm just saying I don't see that happening. This year, I think Maddox Madsen is the established starter, and so I feel bad for some fans, even in this chat, that are going to get their emotional hopes up that it's going to be Cash Herrera, the true freshman, coming and starting. And you know what? Like, I'm not saying I hope I'm wrong, but like, I'll take the, like, if Cash Herrera does a great job and wins the battle, or if they announce today that they got some portal QB and he wins, like, great, throw it in my face. Like, I'm not reporting anything. It's my personal opinion, and I very well could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's in my opinion, and my what I would call an educated opinion, covering this team for 13 years and literally being here as you have, Jay, since the day Spencer Danielson got here, and have covered him from day one. Reading between the lines with how he has handled this in the past and what he has said, I'd be shocked. I would be shocked if Maddox Madsen is not starting against Oregon. And my whole point was, if you want, like you said, Jay, you want to be pleasantly surprised if it's somebody else or whatever, great. But to sit here hoping for 8 months that it's an open competition and it's somebody else, I don't think is the best use of someone's emotional investment. If you're emotionally investing, is that a fair phrase of hoping it's somebody else? Because I just don't think it's going to be. So if you want to, argue about Stacey Collins and special teams, or you want to argue about the wide receivers dropping passes or whatever else, I'm there's plenty of other issues that we can debate on this team. And like I said, I'm not even debating whether or not it should be Maddox Madsen. I'm not telling you like, oh my gosh, Maddox Madsen's this amazing quarterback, you better believe in him, whatever. All I'm saying is, if you think it's going to be somebody else, I don't think it's going to be somebody else, and I wouldn't invest too much time on the alternative of expecting Cash Herrera or really hoping he comes in and wins this job, because I just don't think there's a very large likelihood that happens.
I mean, I think all that's pretty accurate. I'll also say this. Some point in time in Spencer's last press conference, the one that wrapped up the season right before Christmas, I think I'll give credit to our boy Prater, but I can't remember who asked it. I just know Prater asked a number of questions about this, but where can Maddox improve next year? And at some point in time in that answer, Spencer did bring up Maddox's health.
Yeah.
And I really think that this season, the conversation we're having today, I think all of that is very different if they do keep Maddox healthy last year, because, we're living in a world of hypotheticals, which is probably dumb and unfair. But hey, this is sports, so that's what many people do anyways in this day and age. But if Maddox stays healthy last year, I have a lot of confidence in them definitely beating Fresno, even though I know you look at that scoreboard and it says 30-7, and it's Maddox Madsen worth 23 points. Who? I don't know.
I still think if Cam catches that ball, they win, even if Maddox still gets hurt.
I believe they win that game. And then I believe they also win at San Diego State, which if this team is sitting at 10-2 going into the Mountain West Conference Championship game, they're probably one win away from getting into the college football playoff, or at least being heavily, heavily considered. So I don't know. That means they probably win 11 games this year, even if they lose the bowl game still to Washington, which they probably would have ended up in anyways if they didn't go to the CFP. We're still talking about an 11-3 season with 2 of your 3 losses to Washington and Notre Dame, teams that have no problem pushing the limits when it comes to funding their rosters, right? So that kind of is what it is, and I think that's going to be an important thing, keeping Maddox healthy next year. And if they can do that, they should be in a position to, play for a conference title and potentially wind up in a CFP, and that kind of is what it is. And don't discredit that either, because that comes with a significant payday that can help the program. And don't forget either, next year that in the Pac-12, what is it saying? Keep what you kill. I mean, you get to keep a bigger portion of what you go out and you earn. So that would be that would be good for Boise State regardless. And heck, even if they come up short next year in that situation or scenario like they did last year, that you're getting more funds into your program that might allow you to attack it even more aggressive the next year, and hopefully you can build that thing.
Well, we'll certainly be tracking the quarterback position, like all the positions here moving forward. And like I said, Jay, I even expect Spencer will come out and say it wouldn't surprise me at all if he comes out and says it is a competition and told you it's going to be an open competition. Let's see who starts against Oregon, and let's see how Jay. We've covered a number of quarterback battles where they try to tell us it's a battle, and we watch the reps in fall camp, and it's not really a battle. And that's really kind of what my point is on this. They can say what they want to say, but I would be shocked if it's not Maddox Madsen starting against Oregon, and we'll find and see. Hey, I want to get a thought or two on basketball from Jay before we get out of here real quick, but do want to thank Lithia Ford of Boise, our title sponsor. LithiaFordBoise.com. Again, they got to make way for these 2026s, so some great deals right now on some new 2025s, the F-150s, Escapes, Explorers, 0% APR for 60 months and 0 down. Get over and check out Jim Sturk, Jamie Drake, and our friends at Lithia Ford of Boise today. And again, online, you can view their full inventory of vehicles at LithiaFordBoise.com. Get a Sun Cruiser this weekend. You're watching some basketball, watching some playoff football. Sun Cruiser, real iced tea, real vodka. They got the iced tea vodkas. They got the lemonade vodkas. Both versions are tremendous. Love the flavors. And the best part, no carbonation and low carb, low calorie. 4.5% alcohol content, but if you're looking for something that's not super strong, just kind of a tasty drink to sip on while you're golfing, while you're sitting around with the friends, highly recommend a Sun Cruiser, our new studio sponsor here at BNN. So we appreciate Sun Cruiser, real iced tea, and real vodka. Hey, ICCU, we appreciate them as well. There's a branch pretty much on every corner, but the easiest is that mobile eBranch online banking right there in your smartphone. Idaho Central Credit Union, they've got deals with Natalie Pasco on the women's basketball team, Pearson Carmichael on the men's basketball team. And again, we appreciate them. They're back on board as an official sponsor of Boise State. You may not realize what you're missing, folks, with your other bank, but if you make the switch, you'll find out pretty quickly. Best in the business, Idaho Central Credit Union. Jay, I hope you took advantage of the 75% off at Jackson's. The Broncos went well past 75 points on Saturday. As Jay pointed out on Twitter, the most points ever in a Mountain West game, 107. They got past the 75. That meant on Monday, you got a any size fountain drink for 75 cents from our friends at Jackson. So all season long, home or on the road, if the Broncos score 75, you get a 75-cent fountain drink from our friends at Jackson's when you use your Let's Go Rewards app. Now, for the home games like tomorrow night, Taco Bell is offering a free taco for anybody with a ticket stub if the Broncos get to 83. So get to 83 points tomorrow night, and you're getting a free taco with your ticket stub at Taco Bell. TacoBellWorks.com. We appreciate the SON Management Group, the Nicolason family, whether it's the breakfast quesadillas, the crunchy crispy chicken strips, all the great options at Taco Bell. Visit our friends at Taco Bell today. And the Blue and Orange Store, another great friend of ours. You're looking for the new 208 shirts. You're looking for the new jerseys. I know, Jay, you posted a picture a week ago of Drew Fielder, I believe, with a customized jersey there at the Blue and Orange Store at the Allen Noble Hall of Fame location. So you can now get the customizable jerseys for Boise State basketball like you could for football. So if you want to get a Javen Buchanan jersey or an AG NATO jersey, you can do that at the Blue and Orange Store online, theblueandorangestore.com, the OG location there at the Boise Town Square Mall, or of course the new location there at the Allen Noble Hall of Fame. All right, Jay, I've got the video evidence here. I don't know if we want to play it or not. We can just discuss it, but there was a lot made of the officiating in that game, and I know Boise State's probably ready to just move on. We will see if Leon says anything about it today. But there was just a number of things when you went back and looked at it in the moment. Myself being at the game, it's a little hard to figure out, but you go back and watch the tape later. And I didn't get a chance to talk a ton of basketball yesterday because we had Brad Bedell on and we were talking a lot of football. But whether it's the fifth foul on AG NATO or the baseline official 40 feet from the play makes the call, whether it was the whole Jeremiah Oden 5 foul thing, which I put out again. I thought that was pretty cut and dry. Like, the refs are bad for both teams. Here's one example. This guy should have fouled out. They didn't call that. They messed up one of the fouls. And then sure enough, he hits a huge 3 in triple overtime. I was just, accused of San Diego State fans as, a huge homer and I keep crying and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, that's fine. It's we're pointing out stuff on both sides here, but disappointing in a game of that magnitude to have such an inexperienced crew on it. And the result was a disappointing, again, I'm not even going to say they lost the game because of the refs. I've never once said that. I won't say that. They had plenty of chances to make a better inbounds pass, to foul when you're up 3. Like, there's a number of scenarios. If Dylan Andrews hits the free throw jumper there at the end of regulation. It's one of the most improbable wins of all time. I mean, they had all their chances to win. They did not lose because of the refs, but it certainly did not help that a guy that should have fouled out of the game hits a huge three-pointer in triple overtime because of an error in the stat sheet on the fouls. And so we'll see if Leon says anything about all this today. Oh, and I didn't even throw in the 2 flagrant fouls, the one of which, when I went back and watched, and you're hearing the TV copy, I mean, I have no idea. And Leon even said on our post game, if anybody watched it, like he actually criticized the officials a little bit. He mentioned the NATO call, and then he said, I don't understand how, he goes, I don't know the definition of a flagrant foul anymore, because that one with Farrell Compton, Jay, I mean, he's running nowhere near the basket. He deviates his path and shoves Drew Fielder in the back. Like, we can keep going here. There were so many calls in that game. And sure, maybe it looks like sour grapes from me, from Boise State, from whoever. I don't know. If you're a San Diego State fan, of course that's the side you're gonna take. But that was a tough one, man, in a game of that magnitude, to have calls both ways be impacted by the refs.
In a game of that magnitude, in a game that could determine the 1 seed at the Mountain West Conference tournament, it's hard for me to disagree with anything you just said.
And by the way, Dan Dickow did say Dan Dickow on the call, and I went back and watched, was arguing that maybe he should have been ejected for a flagrant 2, and he didn't even get a flagrant 1.
Yeah. It's there are some tough moments to go back and look at the end of that game, and I think that Leon pointed it out, perfectly in his interview with you then, that I don't know. The coaches can only say so much about officiating, and they know that. And so if they wade into that water at all, they probably believe with a significant amount of conviction in what they're saying. And I just think it's hard to argue any of those moments. And another tough one was at the end of, the second overtime.
Oh.
I will always be a fan of swallowing the whistle in a 50-50 play with the game on the line or something like that. I think, at least, I don't know. I for the most part, like I'm of the mindset of let the boys play. That being said, there are also moments that are so obvious that you simply can't ignore. And how about this, BJ? The St. Mary's game had an elite officiating crew, and I just, it's another moment to maybe tip your cap to them, because there was a play at the very end of that game that a less experienced crew might have let the moment affect them and blown a whistle that would have changed the outcome of that game. And so, as much as I love you, buddy. You drive me crazy with how much you care about officials, but in this case, maybe there is, it does.
The whole point, man. They can affect the game more than people realize, and
it can tell a little bit of a story. And I do think that, sarcastically, I hate you. I'm not trying to give you too much credit, so just so everybody knows I hate you. But I mean, there can be something to it, and we saw that, maybe the other night at Viejas, but also, over in Eastern Idaho against St. Mary's.
And I said this before the game, but when I've never even heard of 2 of the refs, that's usually not a good sign. And then sure enough, it wasn't. By the way, Jay, here's your play here at the end of the second overtime, where the play was missed here. And then here's my vantage point from press row. There's the now you ask San Diego State fans, they say, oh, you can easily slow it down. Look at this. But I mean, right there, the arm from number 3, Harrington, is clearly going across Andrew Meadow. And I get the whole argument, Jay, let the players affect the game and all this. Well, the players did affect the game there by committing a foul.
I mean, again, I know you don't want to call it. You can't run into a guy. And Boise State's in the double bonus at that point in time. So we're not even arguing is Meadows shooting or not or anything like that. I mean, if it's a foul, it's a foul. I mean, for the sake of the conversation too, I will add phenomenal college basketball games. I mean,
there you go. What I'm talking about here, Jay.
Hey, Mike, phenomenal college basketball game. Man, for both of those teams to battle back from the situations they were in, insane. I mean, how many times has San Diego State ever blown a 24-point lead on their home court? I mean, I was joking around. Boise State was down 21 at halftime. It can be damn hard to score 21 points on San Diego State in a half. Like
they had a half there a couple years ago where I think they had 21 points.
Yeah, let alone to overcome a 21-point deficit. I mean, that is freaking.
And we just
wild.
said earlier in the show, Mike, unless you just joined us, that's there were bad calls for both teams, and I'm not saying that's why they lost the game, but you could specifically look at that call, Jay, right there. I wasn't going to do it because this is going to cost me a couple bucks, but I'll do it anyway, real quick. Why not? I'll throw I'll get the copyright flag here, but here's foul 1, Jay, on Jeremiah Oden. Okay, right there, foul 1. I'm going to start this over real quick so you can see here, but here's
tonight's game. Southern California kid.
Okay, there's foul 1.
Played San Diego State while at UCLA, or outside of just offensive putbacks and dives.
Jeremiah Oden called right there, foul 2. I put this video together last night. Okay, this is the questionable call right here. That was the call that some people said should have been a charge anyway. That's foul 2. Sorry, but right here, okay, you see Jeremiah Oden right there under the basket. He goes down right there. Now, Pharaoh Compton, number 5, is at the free throw line, Jay. He is the one that gets actually called for this foul. You could not see it in the TV copy. I tried to find it, but this is where the discrepancy happened and what happened. The refs got together for some reason. I think they were trying to discuss the continuation rule that's new and whether or not the basket should count. But the ref right here at the bottom of the screen, David Walker, who's the one that had a tough night all game and had Leon's ire towards him, he is the one that after the refs get together, he screwed this up and eventually signals number 5, not number 25. The what do they call it, Jay? The stat crew, the official stats that they print out every timeout and give to guys. They put 25 because it was obvious. They didn't even wait for the official to say it. They just put 25 foul. So they all of a sudden had him at 3. The official book only had him at 2 after this because they gave this foul to Pharaoh Compton instead. So that's his actual 3rd foul, but in the book it only went as 2. So here's his 4th foul in overtime, which 5% only credited him at 3 in the official stat. This should have been when he fouled out. This is his actual 5th foul of the game right here. Watch him on the left. Watch him walk away, Jay. He puts 5 fingers up right here. He walks off, and that's 5. I'm done. He even knew he was done. He said that's 5. He walks off. Then at some point they find out, no, that's not. He's still able to come back in the game. So you hear Leon here walk out and telling him that he's got 5. He should be out of the game because the stat sheet did say 5 fouls here. And Michael Irving goes to the book. They said, no, we've only got him at 4. Now Oden's saying that they're showing 4 up there. And that is where the issue happened. And I'm not even blaming San Diego State, or the guy doing the book. The referee signaled 5, not 25. So I'm not blaming San Diego State, saying that I do wonder how they all of a sudden found out, oh, actually only has 4 in the book, put him back in. I do wonder about that part of it. But the stat crew, the book, we're not on the same page. The referee wrongly on the 3rd foul gave it to 5, not 25. He should have fouled out. He didn't. And then, of course, he hits a huge 3 in triple overtime. So if that's complaining, whatever, I'm literally showing facts that he should have fouled out of the game. Yeah. So,
I'll say this, and
by the way, if this guy wants to say this, how about Rice sending in his player to tie his shoe on a timeout? I'll counter that with, I watched the San Diego State assistant coach. They were trying to decide if they wanted to review a play earlier in the game, and the San Diego State assistant coach literally ran over it and told the mop guy to come out and mop a random section on the court that wasn't there to stall the game so they could decide if they wanted to review the play or not. So, Mike, that goes both ways on delaying the game.
What, honestly, that stuff happens. I'm not gonna fault either coach for any of that. That happens. Honestly, that's more just kind of bending the rules versus breaking them or whatever. I mean,
the NATO call bugs me too, man. When you go back and watch that, the guy falls down and you have Michael Irving and the other ref with a from 10 feet away, and the other ref underneath the basket from 40 feet away runs out and calls a guy for his fifth
what
foul.
I wanted to bring up, it's separate, but it's related. And I thought in the moment that I was just trying to give our guy Max Teams a little bit of a shout out, but it was actually in the New Mexico game. In the first half of that contest, Altbury, who is one of their New Mexico's leading scorers, one of their best players, New Mexico's off to a great start in that game, and they led most of the first half. And at one point in time, he picked up a foul. I believe A.G. Neto was driving in. I believe Altbury reached in and fouled him. But they initially gave the foul to another player. And so at that point in time, Boise State was trying to pause the game and make sure that they credited the foul to the right player, or maybe even the officials got into the discussion. I can't remember. But then they give it to another player. And that's when Boise State, kind of stood up and said, no, that foul goes to Altbury. And you go back and you look at the replay and they got it right. And then all of a sudden he goes to the bench with his second foul. Boise State comes back and they take the lead. And that, I'm not saying that's the reason why they won that game, but things started to turn when one of New Mexico's best players went to the bench after they figured out who the foul was appropriately credited to. And then Altbury eventually fouled out of that game with 5 fouls. So they were able to count to 5 in that game,
Yeah.
So
Max Deems deserves some credit for that. And like I said, the officiating did not lose them this game. The inbounds pass from RJ Keene was ill-advised. I love RJ, but that was not the best option there. He would admit that was not the best option there. You had some guys closer to the basket that were open. That was not a pass that they should have made. And then Leon said they were trying to foul. They didn't foul. Is that something that should have been communicated in the huddle before? Hey, if a disaster happens and this ball's stolen, we're going to foul. I don't know. There were many other chances Boise State had to win this game. How about not falling behind by 24 to begin with? And there's numerous things. So I'm not saying that they lost and only because of the officiating and screw the officiating. I'm just pointing out facts that was a really bad crew on both sides. I thought Nato could have got called for a foul when he barreled the guy over, and then they hit a huge three. I think that was in first overtime, maybe second overtime, when Nato did not get called for a foul. There was a couple travels. I thought Drew Fielder had a travel that wasn't called. They were really bad for both sides. That's just visual evidence in one obvious one where a guy should have fouled out and didn't and hit a huge three. So it is what it is. Yeah, it was bad on both sides, but that's, Boise State had numerous other chances, in my opinion, to win that game. You're up 6 with 20 seconds left in overtime. You've got to find a way to win that game. So that I will say that. I'm not taking all the blame away from the players or coaching staff or whatever. No, not at all. They were up 6 with 20 seconds left in overtime and couldn't finish it off. That's got to be a win. That has got to be a win at that point.
I mean, at the end of the day, maybe it does feel a little bit of nitpicky when we're talking about a couple of plays that decided the game. But I think you're right there. I mean, the thing about this Boise State team is they have to find a little more consistency, because you're right. You can't play bad enough to get down 24, but then also prove you're good enough to. I memean, from that point on, BJ, they outscored. There was a moment in time where they outscored San Diego State basically by 30 on their home floor.
Yeah,
that's a wild swing. So they got to find a little bit of a better level of consistency, probably.
Well, even the New Mexico game, they had a horrible stretch to start the game, horrible stretch to start the second half, and they're able to overcome that. But they can't keep falling down double digits to these teams and coming back.
Hey, it's easy to be glass half full, because man, if there are any team in America that can outscore San Diego State by 30 on their home floor at any point in time, holy cow! But then there's still enough there where, man, I'm like, these guys got to start to go out, prove it, and earn, and that begins with a 2-game home stretch this week, Grand Canyon, and then Utah State, which got to defend your home floor.
This is still one of the most crazy, insane finishes, Jay, before I let you go, of all time. Nato, I mean, the pass there to Fielder, they tied the game with 10 seconds left, and then,
AG comes up over half court right there, BJ, and he's like a 5th-year point guard. I mean, he knows exactly what he wants to do, attacks, does it, and ties the game. And then wanted that to go down for Dylan Andrews, man.
Oh, my gosh, man. That would have been the most insane walk-off of all time if that shot falls. I mean, just with I'm going to play it with the sound here. I mean, that was you feel for Dylan Andrews, man, because he has had a little bit of a rough time shooting the ball here of late. And if that goes in, a lot is forgotten. But Jay, I kept you an hour, so I apologize, man. But tomorrow, what do we got for Bronco Studios tomorrow? Tomorrow's show and this week, what are we working on here?
Obviously, we got hoops. Danny Bays recently went over 1,000 points for the women's basketball team. They're on the road tomorrow. They're back at home over the weekend. We're going to chat with her on Friday. Marco Notriani is going to join us tomorrow. So we got some other things in the pressure cooker as well that should be fun. So it's going to be a good show the rest of the way.
Well, appreciate you, Jay, and we'll see you on Bronco Studios tomorrow, and we'll see you at Extra Mile Arena tomorrow night, man. Have another cup of coffee, man. Another one of those go put the kids to bed and still have time to make it down to the arena type of nights.
Yep, no kidding, bud. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Jay. Again, Jay Tust, Bronco Studios. You can check their YouTube channel and things out, and they do a tremendous job there on their Boise State Athletics YouTube channel, and Jay puts a lot of packages together on Twitter as well, so we appreciate him continuing to come on once a week now that he is associated with Boise State. And yeah, I know, speaking of trolls, I know Paulie Pepperoni is a big fan of mine. Actually, when I said that, they were still down by like 9 points. I mean, at halftime, some of the comments and takes I did, like I always do, go just save a few just in case something happens. And Boise State was starting to make a comeback, and they were still down like 9 points. I wasn't saying the game was over, but I was just like, oh, man, I have some great tweets bookmarked from the first half because I did. And yeah, we didn't end up needing them. And if you want to shove it back in my face or whatever, yeah, that's cool. Great. I just said when they were down 9, like, man, if they were to pull this off, there's going to be some people going back to delete some old takes or eat some crow. And they didn't end up having to do that. But yeah, it is what it is. So tough one for Boise State. And now you got a big week ahead here. Grand Canyon at 9:00 on Wednesday. And you got Utah State on Saturday. You got to go 2-0 this week. Got to find a way to go 2-0. We said it before this stretch started. They needed to find a way to go 3-1 somehow. And you've still got a chance to do that. You had to win over New Mexico. You do lose in triple overtime. But you got a chance now with 2 home games to try to way to come back. So two home games, come back, get the momentum going. Tomorrow night, a Grand Canyon team that's been a little inconsistent, couple nice wins, then they go to Wyoming, get a big win there, and then lose at home to Colorado State. So very interesting season so far. They're first in the Mountain West for Grand Canyon. Coach Bryce Drew, remember he hit the shot against for Valparaiso in the tournament, the famous shot. That was Bryce Drew. He is the coach at Grand Canyon. His brother is Scott Drew, the Baylor coach. His dad, the legendary coach Homer Drew, all those years at Valpo. So a basketball family. And they've been a powerhouse in their conference and made the tournament, recently, but they're getting a little bit of a awakening here in the Mountain West. But like I said, went to Wyoming, got a huge win, and then followed that up, with a home loss to Colorado State team without their best player. So we'll see which version of Grand Canyon comes in to Extra Mile Arena tomorrow night. And again, another late game, 9 p.m. start. 9 p.m. is the start time tomorrow night. We'll see with school back in session what that crowd looks like. But I say it a lot, folks, but I was just at San Diego State and I saw the impact that crowd can have. And you can say what you want about the impact on the officials, because they certainly do that. But the impact the crowd has on the home team, the confidence it gives them, the way that you can rattle an opposing team and lead to missed shots and turnovers and things. Like, Viejas Arena is super loud and it's an awesome environment. And I love going to Viejas Arena, and Boise State could have that atmosphere at Extra Mile Arena. They're close. They're not there yet. And you look at all the percentage of home games Boise State wins, it could be even higher if they just had just a little bit more in terms of the home court advantage with the crowd. And you see what it's like at the Pit, and you see what it's like at San Diego State and some of these places. And I give San Diego State a ton of credit, man. That those fans, they just get you going, and it's really tough to win there when you have that kind of crowd and that kind of atmosphere. And kudos, hats off to the San Diego State fans and the tradition they've built at Viejas Arena, and that's a special place. And Boise State needs that kind of atmosphere, certainly Saturday against Utah State, but they need it tomorrow night as well. Kind of a 9 p.m. sleepy game, and you got to win it. No one cares when Selection Sunday comes around, what time the game was at or what the crowd was like. They care about who won the game. And this is certainly a game where Boise State needs to find a way to get this win. So we'll have full basketball coverage. We'll keep monitoring the transfer portal as well.
And we'll do all of that, of course, at BroncoNationNews.com. We'll pick our Element Fencing player of the game tomorrow. Brought to you by Element Fencing, whether it's a deck, pergola, fences. They got the cedar, wrought iron, vinyl. They can do it all. Family-owned fencing company, locally owned. Brady, the owner, is just a tremendous dude. And elementfencing.com. We'll be picking our defensive player of the game coming up tomorrow night after the game. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. 13 locations across the state of Idaho, surrounding states. Check them out online at shopridleys.com. Rowpaint.com, 20% off their winter painting projects. Now's the time, folks. If you have that painting project you've been on the fence about, help out our longtime sponsor, rowpaint.com. And you can do that online at rowpaint.com or give them a call, 991-0567. Rowpaint. I just realized their number is 0567. Rowpaint.com. Check them out, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. Signature Roofing, speakpipe.com/BNN. Brought to you by My Signature Roofing. It's a big night in the Mountain West. We'll tell you about that in a second. Signature Roofing online at mysignatureroofing.com. Whether it's a re-roof, a repair, an estimate, or an inspection, you can do that online at My Signature Roofing. All your roofing needs, mysignatureroofing.com. Transportation compliance service. You want to get into the trucking industry, transcompservice.com can help get you there. Transportation compliance service, transcompservice.com. All the DOT, overweight, permits, everything you need to get out there towing that first load in no time. If you're thinking of a new career, a fresh start, you should think about transportation compliance service. And certainly Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate, think about them as well. Bauscher Real Estate, #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. We bought and sold our home using Matt and his team, and we're in our dream home because of Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. So every step of the way, customer service is unmatched. No stone is left unturned. You can get more information online at BauscherRealEstate.com. But why not work with the #1 real estate team in the Northwest? And that's Matt Bauscher online at BauscherRealEstate.com. I mentioned tonight a loaded schedule in the Mountain West, and Tom Moser is going to have another night in the Mountain West. I'll be on tonight as well. No Boise State game tonight, so I'll be on with Tom. We're going to have a coach or a player on, depending on the results of the games and who wins tonight. So we're working on some different options. Sundance Wicks, the Wyoming coach, is an option to come on if they win. We have some other guests and things we're working on as well. We had Craig Neal, the associate head coach at Nevada, come on last week. Jeff Grammer is going to probably pop on after their game tonight. So 5 games in the Mountain West tonight. We take a look at the Signature Roofing scoreboard. New Mexico is at Colorado State. That's one of the bigger games of the night. That's 7 o'clock. New Mexico at Colorado State. You have San Diego State at Nevada tonight. That's a big one. It's a late one, 9 o'clock on FS1. But then you have Fresno State at San Jose. UNLV is at Wyoming, and Utah State travels to Air Force. 5 games in the Mountain West tonight. Again, New Mexico at Colorado State. San Diego State at Nevada are the headliners, and we're going to break it all down on another night in the Mountain West. Live show tonight. Tom Moser, myself, Jeff Grammer, players, coaches, your comments. Full night of Mountain West basketball, and when it's over, about 11 o'clock Mountain Time tonight, when that San Diego State game goes final against Nevada, jump onto the Bronco Nation YouTube channel, our new YouTube channel as well. It's just youtube.com/@Mountain West BNN. If you can go to that and subscribe, all of our Mountain West eventual Pac-12 basketball coverage will go there. And, I think that we're building something with our coverage of Mountain West basketball and Pac-12 basketball next year. And I think there's a lot of passionate fans around the conference. And we love, we started this idea to do some recap shows, and we're liking it so far. So when the action's over tonight, even if you're a Boise State fan, jump on in the chat and talk about some of the other Mountain West games tonight. And there'll be some other fan bases and fans in there. And it's kind of a fun, lively chat after the games. So appreciate that. And I guess you missed, Paulie. I guess you missed it. You like the troll. The trolls love to come in and just kind of pick and choose what they want to say. But I mentioned that they should have fouled when they were up 3, and that would certainly be a coaching decision. I would have fouled up 3. I would not have had the option for RJ Keene to throw that pass. I mean, and I wouldn't have gotten down by 21 points in the first half. So I certainly think I said there's blame to go around for the coaches, for the players. They did not lose that game because of the officiating. I certainly would have fouled when they were up by 3, and they said they tried to do it. They didn't get it. I think you could have made that a little more obvious, or teach them ahead of time in huddles and things that when we're up 3 and there's less than 10 seconds left, we're always going to foul. Like that,
if that's going to be your plan, that needs to be a little more well known by the players or a little better communicated in earlier in the game or in previous spots, or you need to have a better way of getting. I don't know if I fully would believe or trust that you can just say we tried to get them to foul and they didn't see us. It was too loud. I don't know if that's a good enough excuse. And I mentioned that earlier. So yes, I certainly think that you can put some blame on the coaches, on the players. That's certainly something that I think you could blame coaches and players for. So to say that I'm solely putting the blame on the refs and just defending Leon Rice, you're not paying attention. So you're not listening to what I'm saying. And that happens often with some folks on here. But again, Tom Moser, another night in the Mountain West. Join us tonight around 11 o'clock. Watch that San Diego State-Nevada game, and as soon as it goes final, join us here for a late-night show about 11 p.m. Another night in the Mountain West will be live tonight with Tom Moser, with myself, with Jeff Grammer, with some coaches, some players. We'll see who we can get on. It's going to be a fun night talking Mountain West basketball tonight around 11 o'clock here on this YouTube channel, but we'd actually prefer you go to our new YouTube channel. Again, it's youtube.com/@Mountain West BNN. /@Mountain West BNN. You can subscribe to our new YouTube channel on there, and you can join us when we have all these Mountain West basketball shows. So appreciate you guys for checking us out. We do have interviews with Leon Rice and some players today at 1:45. We'll get down to Boise State. We will check those out and see if anything of note is said, but we'll get the full interviews posted to our YouTube channel this afternoon, and we'll continue to monitor the transfer portal. Again, you want all the football transfer portal news in one spot, we got it for you. It's a free blog available for everybody. You don't have to be a subscriber. You can go on right now to BroncoNationNews.com, and Chris Van Sickle has a file going where anytime there's an offer that he finds out about or a visit or somebody on Twitter posts an offer from Boise State or something, we're dumping all that into one spot, one live blog, and you can do that at BroncoNationNews.com. Again, BroncoNationNews.com. All the transfer portal news in one spot. We urge you to go check that out and urge you to check out all of our coverage at BNN. So appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be tracking the portal news. If anything happens on the coaching search in front as well for the assistant coach openings, we'll get that posted at BroncoNationNews.com. Otherwise, Winston Venable and I believe Matt Bauscher might join us tomorrow as well. But we'll talk football. We'll talk basketball tomorrow. Start your game day off on a Wednesday with us at 9 a.m., which will be 12 hours before tip-off. Crazy to say that for Boise State and Grand Canyon, a 9 p.m. tip. But again, 11 p.m. tonight, join us for another night in the Mountain West. Have a great rest of your day, folks. Appreciate you for joining us. Thanks to Jay Tust. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you later from the Sun Cruiser Studios. This has been a presentation of our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise. My name is BJ Rains, and we'll see you at Bronco Nation News online at BroncoNationNews.com.